Hey, welcome back. Now we're going to start with these different levels and stairs. So I'm going to go ahead and copy these and bring them over to our working area back here. Now first we want something for this level here, and I'd like this to look a little bit different than what we've been using for the floor here. So the floor is going to go up against it. I'm going to rotate it by 90. And the floor will go up like this. So we need something that's going to look good against the floor here. Now we've got these big blocks here. We can see what these look like. So let's go ahead and copy these over and just kind of put them in place here. Now it's okay if they aren't the same size, but of course we can scale them as well. And if I turn off snapping for scaling, I can scale it up. And then I can continue to bring it up and snap it back into place. Now if I bring it over, then I can see what it looks like here on the grid. Now the bigger we make these, the better. I'm going to turn snapping back on for scaling and see if I can scale this to an even number of squares here. So this is almost 4. I'm going to turn snapping to an even smaller increment for scaling. So we've almost got it to 4 squares. I'm going to turn snapping off now for scaling, just for a bit more fine-tuned adjustment. Now that's almost exact. I'm going to turn snapping off for moving objects around. See if we can get this just right. Now that looks almost perfect. I think it's okay if we have some tight edges here. So I think that's going to work. I'm going to turn snapping back on and bring this out and hit end again and bring it back in. And I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to bring it over to the edge. And that's okay if it's sticking out on that side. Now I'm going to copy it, see how this looks. Now it looks like we're going to have an issue with the size unless we simply move these over like this and just keep copying them like this. It shouldn't really matter if part of this is not going to be seen, like these little bits sticking out here. So that seems to look okay. But again, we need to go back and look in our level and see exactly how that's going to work. Looks like in this case, it's okay because these levels will be covered. So I think we can get away with using these blocks the way we are. So we might be able to give those a try. Now for the staircase. Let's take a look at the staircases we have. Now it looks like we have some, but their dimensions are not quite exactly right. This one is maybe the best one we've got. This one here might actually work. This one here actually looks pretty promising. Let's go ahead and give this one a try. I'm going to copy it and drag it over. Now that's okay if it's not the same exact width as our prototype. Remember, we have to kind of make do with the assets we have, unless of course you are an artist or have an artist on your team that can create some custom stuff for you. But you know what? It's not the end of the world if the staircase is wider. In fact, it may even look better. So let's just kind of play it by ear and see how it goes. Now, it definitely needs to be scaled because it's not high enough. So we're going to go ahead and bring it up to the wall and scale it up. And I'm just going to take this blue staircase and move it over a bit and just kind of see what this looks like. I'm also going to take this other grid piece and move it down. Now this doesn't look too bad really. It looks like there's a little bit of a lip there, so we could scale this a little down. So I'm going to turn snapping increments to a smaller amount. And that is going to look pretty decent. Let's move it over just a smidge. And I might actually turn snapping down to a 1 and move it in. All right, so that looks good. I'll turn snapping back to 100 now. Now, there's an issue here, and you probably noticed right away, there's nothing underneath, but we did have those triangular pieces. Let's take a look at what we've got. I believe I had a triangle piece over here somewhere. Here it is. Again, this is another reason why it's nice to drag all the pieces out so you know where everything is. Let's copy this triangle over, and we'll bring it over here. And I'm going to need to rotate this by 180 degrees this way. And that way, it should fit right under here. We'll have to adjust it, of course. But this triangle is just about perfect for a staircase. Now, for this, I'm going to turn snapping off, both for rotation and scale, as well as dragging objects around. That way I can just place it exactly how I want it. So it's going to need to go like this, and I just need to make sure that it's covering that awful area underneath the stairs. And that's okay if it's a little bit too large as well. So, you know, little details like whether or not this brick is going inside this other brick, they're not quite as important. You know, shooter games are action-based, so when the characters running around, the player probably isn't going to go up to each little crack and inspect them. So that's going to look pretty good. And this side doesn't really need anything because if we go back to our level, we'll see that it's up against something. So I think I'd like to group all this together. So let's go ahead and select all these bricks. And for these bricks, I'd like them to be their own separate piece. So I'm going to go ahead and copy them off to the side here. I have snapping set to 100, and I'm going to group this. And then I'm going to take these bricks with the staircase and group all of these together. That way I have one level without the stairs and one level with the stairs. And I'm going to copy the group with the stairs and bring it over to our level here. And I'm just going to go in and stick it right here against the wall. Now I might need to turn snapping down to 10 just so that I can get this lined up with the grid. So that looks great. So now I have the staircase here, and I can go ahead and make a copy of this, rotate it by 180 and bring it in to the other side. Only for this one, I need to bring the brick piece up to the edge, and I need to ungroup this now so that I can bring the stairs up to the edge as well, and the stair end over to the other side. So that's going to look pretty good. And so I think I'd like to actually group these back up again. So I'm going to go and hide the shooter prototype so that I can select these blocks and group this again. Okay, so that's looking good. Now I need to place some blocks here. So I'm going to go back over here and get this other group, copy it over, and bring it in. And we just need to bring it all the way up to the edge like this, and simply copy it over to the other side. Just like that. So we need to make sure that it goes up to the edge of the bricks and not overlapping. And that's looking pretty good. Okay, so that takes care of this next level here. In the next video, we're going to take care of this next level. So this is going to take a little bit more work and probably some scaling of the stairs and things like that. So we'll take care of that in the next video. I'll see you then.